Great work by everyone to get it, get it dialed in today.
And the car feels a peach,
Car feels mint. So let's hope we can have three.
If once that photograph is complete, can I have a quick word with Dan? You really are on a roll.
Yeah, I'm absolutely over the moon with that. That was amazing because we've had a mega tough day. FP1 we were down in 18th. I think we only did like 6 flying laps. Some issues with the car. FP2 the same again. We were in the garage halfway through and we're having some real issues. So to turn it round and be on the front row, credit to the team. And yeah, no, it was amazing.
And not just for you, but for your teammate too.
I'm not bothered about him. No, yeah, it's great for the team, to have us both that far up the grid. I think I've said it a million times, but we've had a tough year, so it's mega a result like this for us.
It is brilliant. Right, TV interview is next. Let me go and speak to Jason Plato, who has finished his TV interview. I think he's about to leave Parc Fermé. Oh no, he's doing a radio interview now, so I'm not going to get a chance to speak to Jason Plato just yet. Rory Butcher is having a chat to Christian Dick, the team boss, and Rory deep in conversation, sort of a pre-debriefing, describing what's happening with the car and all of those kind of things. Sorry to interrupt, Christian. Sorry to interrupt, Rory, but I just wanted to get a few thoughts after qualifying. Personally, I love this format. 25 minutes and then a shootout for the top 10. What about a driver?
I think we're getting used to it. I think it's just change. Nobody likes change, and the first time we did it, it's a bit interesting. You go out, you set your lap time as you normally do. You think, oh well, P4, that's great, and then you have to go back out and do it again. And
yeah, good.
You might end up P7 or
yeah, good.
You have to roll the dice. So
that's why it's exciting for us to watch.
I think on there it worked in our favour. We went P2, I think, and then I lost the time for exceeding track limits, dropped down to P7. So then we got another shot at it. So on that occasion, I won today. So
I saw penalties coming up in Q1 for track limits, but no injury in Q2.
I think we must have just been good boys. We learned our lesson.
You're all pushing it as far as you could in Q1, weren't you?
Certainly were. But hey, I tell you what,
good.
Car's great. It's certainly we had a bit of work to do after FP1, but we've just chipped away, and I think now we've got a pretty good race car for tomorrow, and we're in the mix. I'm really pleased.
Nice one, Rory.
Right, cheers, Alan.
Thank you. Very good. Good to have a chat to you. Jason is still doing his radio interview down here, and we've already got a full grid of minis on circuit. So for now, that's it from Parc Fermé.
Thanks, Alan. Yep, so Jason Plato likes to talk, so we won't get a chance to hear from him just yet, but we'll get through the grid and see what time we have. But this is how the mini challenge lines up for what's going to be their first race of the weekend. We've got page 57 where you can find the entry list for this one, and the way the grid lines up is as follows. After qualifying this morning, number 71 Max Coates starts from pole position, his first of the year, 113.799. Just behind him, number 44 Max Bird, so 71, 44 make up row 1. Row 2 then sees number 11, which is Sam Weller, alongside here number 315, which is Jason Lockwood, 11 and 315. Back on row number 3 is 21, which is Jack Davidson. He'll be joined by number 35, which is Jim Laux, so 21 and 35. Back on row number 4 is 66, which is Ronan Pearson, and alongside him is the car of number 16, Callum Newsham, 66 and 16. Back on row number 5 is going to be number 3, which is Alex Dennin, and 24, Joe Tanner, 3 and 24. The 6th row, number 17, Brad Hutchinson, and 47, James McIntyre, 17 and 47. Row 7 then sees number 45, which is Dan Zelos. Of course, that's not where he qualified, but he carries an 8-place grid penalty from race 2 at Croft. So he lines up there with number 40, Stephen James, 45 and 40. Back on row number 8 is number 22, which is Ollie Barker, and 39, Lewis Brown, 22 and 39. The 9th row, number 88, is Tom Rawlins, and number 10, Bradley Gravitt, 88 and 10. Then on to the 10th row, number 52 is Rue Clark, and 82, Lydia Walmsley, 52 and 82. The 11th row, number 19, Bobby Thompson, and number 91, Robbie Dalgleish, 19 and 91. Then on to row 12, we have number 23, which is Ethan Hamilton, and number 4, Liam Lambert, 23 and 4. The 13th row is number 13, Ryan Falconbridge, and number 7, Keenan Doyle, 13 and 7. The 14th row, number 31, is Matthew Wilson, and number 5, James Griffith, 31 and 5. And the final row of the grid should be number 8, Hannah Chapman, and that of number 63, which is Taylor Whitson. and that is a long grid of minis to get through, because if you look all the way down towards the Robert Chicane, I think beyond there they still go around the corner. So that is 30 cars to look forward to in race number 1 of the weekend, round 14 of the Quaife Mini Challenge. Just a few updates from earlier on. Of course, we had some problems in the qualifying session, unfortunately for Bobby Thompson, because Bobby was, of course, first time out this weekend for the Quaife Mini Challenge. Former British touring car racer is Bobby, but he was off in qualifying down at the old hairpin, and word from Matt Salisbury is that he had a left rear tyre which popped off the rim as the car was bouncing sideways, turning into the old hairpin. So that's not good news for Bobby. So it was a tyre malfunction which caused him to go off, and all things sorted, he should be good to go for this race, which is with work to do, of course, from lower down than he would have expected, because when we were talking about him, he was doing quite well in terms of setting a very quick time, but then he fell down the order with not being able to take part in the next part of the qualifying session. So from 21st on the grid, we look forward to seeing what Bobby can do in that number 19 car. But it's great to have Bobby back out, of course, after the big roll he suffered at Croft, and as a knock-on effect, he was unfortunately not able to take further part in any of the action for the foreseeable future. And I'm just saying that I think possibly Bobby is missing from the grid for some reason, so that car is not there. Any word of why Bobby might not be there, or Matt's going to find out for us, but yeah, it's a shame that Bobby's not there, unless he's starting from somewhere else, but we can't see him at the end of the pit lane, and I can't see round the corner to see the back of the grid, so I'm not too sure if he's going to be there, but Bobby Thompson is missing. Just a slight delay before we get on the way. I don't think we've got anything to clear up by the looks of it, but we're just waiting for all the technical checks to be done for the British Touring Car Championship, but as soon as that's been completed, we should be good to go. But for now, what a sight this makes. As we said, great entry for the Quaife Mini Challenge. There's a few here this weekend who are trying things out for a potential entrant for next season, and this is the start of the point where you do that with the last 2 rounds on the calendar. So you come in, have a go, and get set for what's to be next year. But there's still a small matter of a championship to be wrapped up, which is going all the way by the looks of it, because heading here this weekend, Dan Zelos, who has been a 7-time podium finisher, 4-time race winner, has 473 points. He's got a little bit of a margin up front, but when you consider the amount of points you score for a race win in Mini Challenge, and of course the points extra that go with it for pole position and fastest laps, then it can very quickly turn around. And of course you have to take into effect drop scores as well, which can make a huge difference at the end of the season. So Dan Zelos sits on 473, as we said. He is at the minute 38 points ahead of Max Bird, who finds himself in this race on the front row. Dan Zelos, where is he? He's down in 13th place, so that is already a big advantage. But for Max Bird, he needs to try and hold that over Dan Zelos. So they are your top 2 in the championship. 473 plays 435. Third place is Jack Davidson in the number 21 machine. He has 390 points, and then just 4 points back from him is number 71, which is Max Coates. And Max finds himself on pole position for this first race of the weekend. An update on some people with Alex Denham, Tom Rawlins, Bobby Thompson, and also Whitson. They do not score points, of course, because they are effectively not doing the full campaign. They've done, of course, you have to do more than 50% to be classified as a championship runner, so they are not going to score points, so they'll be out of the mix in terms of the points, so everyone else will then move up the order in terms of what they score. And an update as well that drive shaft problems are the issues for Bobby Thompson, unfortunately, so that's not good news for a man who's looking to do his first races in the Quaife Mini Challenge. We have had him out in an older Mini at the Mini Festival at Brands Hatch earlier this year, but he was looking forward to taking part in this Mini Challenge event this weekend. But hopefully, if things are rectified, we might see him out tomorrow for races 2 and 3, but we'll wait to see on that one. Still waiting for the countdown. A slight delay, as we said, for some reason. Again, we don't have any pictures now, so we can't tell you what's happening, but I don't think there was any real drama, and we'll just wait for race control to possibly update us. But back to the points, we gave you the top 4 there in the Drivers' Championship overall. We have the other classes to look at as well, the Rookie Cup, the Graduates Cup, and of course the Directors' Cup. So they're all within the main championship, but they're fighting for individual points within that championship as well. So it does mean that Sam Weller currently leads the Rookie Cup on 367 points. He's got quite a margin over Rue Clark with the JW Bird Motorsport team. on 256. That's looking good for Sam, but as we said, the points that you score are quite substantial, so don't count anything until the final rounds. Ollie Barker is third on 201 points, and then just 2 points back from him is Bradley Gravett in the number 10 machine for Graves Motorsport. So that's your rookie cup. In terms of graduate, well, that's Max Coates, who currently leads that one on what's going to be 386 points, and I was just stopping there because Bobby Thompson has made it to the pit lane, so they've managed to get those problems fixed very quickly indeed, so well done. I think that's what they were just waiting for, to give Bobby a chance to get into the pit lane, so that's fantastic news. It's a little bit more now a harder job to do from the pit lane rather than where he was starting 21st on the grid, but well done to the team there to get that sorted and get him out onto what's going to be his first race, so well done indeed. I think that's what the slight delay was possibly for, but Bobby will make it to the end of the pit lane. The Graduate Cup, so Max Coates has 386 points. He's got a margin of 55 points over Jason Lockwood on 331, and they're quite closely matched on the grid in terms of first and fourth, so that could be one again that could go all the way. And then third in that championship is Isaac Smith on 330 points, so that's one still to play out. In terms of the Directors' Cup, that is very close as well between Jim Laux. Jim's had a fairly good season, apart from Alton Park onwards, where he had a big roll at the Avenue, and that wrecked the car. Unfortunately, didn't get it back out for Knockhill. He did rejoin the action, though, last time at Croft. But Jim now has had his points lead in the Directors' Cup cut to a very small margin, so it's 185 points for Jim Laux, 179 points for Stephen James, and Paul Taylor, who did a few rounds this year, although he hasn't been back out since Croft. Paul Taylor on 152 points is there in third position, so that kind of gives you an update on how things look in all of the classes, and of course in the overall standings as well. And I think very shortly we should be good to get this formation lap underway. We're still waiting for the word from down below. We've got, of course, this race coming up now. We've also got 3 more races following this with the Miller's Oil's Ginetta GT4 Super Cup. They've got their first of 3 races this weekend. That's the first and only one you'll see today. And then we've got the F4 British Championship to look forward to after qualifying this morning. We've got the first race, which is set on qualifying times. And then, of course, tomorrow we've got race 2, which is the full reversal of the qualifying order. And race 3, again, those times have already been set from the second fastest qualifying times in the qualifying this morning. So that's F4 race 1 to come. And then we'll have the second race of the day and the weekend for the Michelin Ginetta Junior Championship to close things out here on day 1 at Donington Park. So we are looking to get that one underway right about 5:10, but slightly behind now as we approach 3:45 with the 4 races still to come. Busy day tomorrow as well, as we said, with the 3 races for the Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship, and pretty much everything you've seen today will be back out tomorrow, where it be either 2 races or 1 race, but they'll be back with us. And of course we'll be joined by the Porsche Carrera Cup of Great Britain. We have seen them today, of course, but they'll be back out with racing tomorrow with our 2 races to look forward to. So that's what's coming up tomorrow. Hopefully you can join us for that, but the rest of the afternoon to get through here as well. A few drivers now just sitting with doors open. As we said, it's a fairly not warm day, but it's mild for the time of year, so especially inside the cars they want to be getting as much fresh air in as they possibly can, so doors now just starting to be undone, and of course they'll be, just like us, none the wiser of why we've got a slight delay, but hopefully it won't be too much longer until they're headed off. As we said, we can't see the old hairpin, but there doesn't seem to be anything happening down through there or up towards the top of the circuit through McLean's or Coppice, so maybe it's just something else we're waiting for. But as we said, it did give the chance for Bobby Thompson and the team to get that car sorted with the drive shaft issues, so that's good news for them. Mentioned, of course, Dan Zelos with the penalty of 8 places on the grid. There were a few others as well who suffered after race 2 at Croft. So Jack Davison was handed a 2-place grid penalty, so not as severe as Dan Zelos. So he dropped from what was 3rd to 5th after qualifying. Liam Lambert also received a 3-place grid penalty after his incident at Croft as well. So he drops a few places down the order. And Neil Trotter carries a more substantial one of 10 places. So he will drop down the order as well. So not good for them. And of course the reason they carry those penalties is because they missed the previous round at Croft, or especially Neil Trotter. he carries that one to this round. Keenan Doyle and James Griffiths also missed the previous round at Crofts, so they're back here this weekend. And as we said, the likes of Tom Rawlins, Bobby Thompson, Alex Denning and Taylor Whitson are all making their first appearance in this season's championship, so they are newcomers to box to the entry of over 30 minis for this weekend, which is brilliant. So good to see as the formation lap now does get underway. So off they go for a tour of the 2-mile Donington Park circuit. The next time they come round, they'll be lining up on the grid and ready to go for 20 minutes of racing. We've had the qualifying record broken already this morning. That was previously set by Ant Walter-Nils, 1:14.340, but Max Coates managed to surpass that by well over half a second to get it down to a 1:13.799. If he can carry that through into the race in terms of the pace, he would also set the new lap record as well, which was held by Lewis Brown from last year, and that is a 1:13.841. So we'll see if Max Coates or any of them in the field can try and aim for that 1:13.8, that record from Lewis Brown. So far this year, Max Coates has only had the one win, as we mentioned. This is the first time pole for Max Coates as well, so he'll be looking to add a few more to his tally. Took that win at Brands Hatch, race number 2 at Brands a few months ago now, so it's way back in June for Max, and ever since he's found a real struggle to get himself back on the podium. But this weekend here at Donington Park, looking good so far. As he spoke to Alan after qualifying, he said it's a track he goes well at. Of course, he does a lot of driver coaching here as well, so he pretty much knows the circuit inside out, so that does help him along the way as well. But Max looking for a solid result, but it's never easy in the mini challenge. There's always a lot of people vying for that top spot, and with the field being so competitive indeed, it means you have to work for it very hard at the same time. In fact, Max did visit the podium last time at Croft. That's the only time he'd been back on the podium since that win at Brands Hatch, and in fact that's only the third time this year, sorry, he's been on the podium after a third place at Brands Hatch as well. So it's been one of those seasons for Max. He's always shown great promise, but 2021 hasn't really clicked to his standards. The Foxes are now working his way towards the grids, although he's going to have to wait quite a while because the last of the minis is only working its way through McLean's Corner, so it was a lengthy wait before the formation lap got underway. It's going to be a lengthy wait before the race actually gets underway itself, because, as I said, the doctors are trying to hustle the field round, but they're only working their way now up towards Coppice.
It's a big field, isn't it?
Big, very big this weekend.
I tend to notice that now.
It certainly is. It's great to see, of course, but it's just, as we said, a lengthy delay for those waiting at the front. Of course, you won't lose too much tire pressure or temperature, but you definitely will lose a lot more than those towards the rear of the field. So I need to get a bit of a move on. They won't care too much. Into the pit lane, though, comes number 47, which is James McIntyre. So not good news for the Green Reaper as he heads down. And where does he go? Does he pull off or does he go to the end of the pit lane? He's going to be waving his hand to someone, but the team are about. But
yeah, the team are about. Turns left now, comes to a stop. Talk to me if you need to start the race, but they're about to pop the bonnet on the car and jack the car up as well. So they're calling out what they need. I can't see anything. They're jacking the car up at the front of the car. Where is their area of, I don't want to get in the way either. So toolbox comes out. Still jacking it up on the left. They need it quite high on the left-hand side.
We're about to go out. The red lights are on. Neil Trotters into the pit lane as well, but away we go. And who makes the best of the starts from the front? Well, it's pretty even. Good start from Jack Davison from the third row of the grid. We'll keep an eye out for Dan Zelos, but I think Max Coates has just managed to keep the lead down towards Redgate Corner for the first time, but it's a fairly even start, as we said. Although saying that, Max Bird's now going to be under pressure through the first corner because Sam Weller tries to get his nose in front, which he has done.
Drive shaft for McIntyre.
Oh, what a shame. So drive shaft problem for McIntyre, the drive shaft for Bobby Thompson. We didn't see where Bobby went. He was at the end of the pit lane, but I don't know if he started from the back or where he disappeared to, but we'll try and work out if he comes through at the end of the first lap. Yeah, there were some problems through Redgate there for a couple of cars. We'll try and work out who they were as well. Well, Bobby Thompson hasn't gone through sector 1, so I'm just wondering if that car was pushed from the pit lane back into the paddock with still more problems to try and rectify. But out front is going to be the lead of the race by the looks of it, still for Max Coates, but up into second place has gone Sam Weller, and we've had a shuffle round as well, because I think Max Bird has dropped further back than third place, because Jack Davison has squeezed through into third position. I think Max Bird may be down to fourth by the looks of things as they head down the back straight for the first time in this 20-minute race. Max Coates hanging on to things as it stands as they work their way through the second sector for the first time. In fact, Jason Lockwood's had a bad first lap as well. Great move here. Max Coates is under pressure from Jack Davison, who goes to the inside line, almost on the grass, and gets down the inside of Redgate corner, and he will go through in the pink car. So Jack Davison now into second place. Initially a good start from him off the line, got up to what was fourth place, and into third, now into second. He's on a real charge then as they work their way down through the Craner curves for the second time. This is not good news for Max Coates, unfortunately, because as we said, started from pole, lost out initially there to Sam Weller at the end of the lap, and then all of a sudden it's got even worse with Jack Davison squeezing his way through as well. Number 47 has got back out, which is good, so they've managed to rectify that problem very quickly. Whether it will last or not, I'm not too sure, but James McIntyre is back into the race for the lead. Well, Sam Weller still holds it, but Jack Davison now going for that lead has made a mistake, and Max Coates fires one back through on the inside. So Max Coates is back into second place. Max Bird is still there, by the way, as well in number 44. So it's the Maxes who still find themselves inside the top 5, but not where they'd like to be after qualifying first and second this morning. But Sam Weller, number 11, working his way towards the end. Let's see how much he's fine comes through. So he's got what's going to be now 17 minutes to try and hold on. With a lock up further back there from the 5th place car going through, which is Ronan Pearson. So Ronan's made a good start as well from where he started on the grid. He was down in 7th position, now finds himself in 5th, although he was trying to make a move there through the first corner on Max Bird. So he's pushing on, is Ronan, the man who is in the graduate class. He's second within the graduates in this race at the minute, only a couple behind Max Coates, who has continued to drop down the order since the start. Up towards Starkeys and Schwantz they go. Ronan Pearson's now through, in fact, into 4th place. So is that Bird that lost out on the initial part of this lap? I think it is, yeah. So Pearson's gone through to 4th place. Bigger gap now extended between 3rd and 4th as they head up towards the right-hander at Coppice for the 3rd time of asking. But Sam Weller, what a great start it is. 3/4 of a second he leads by. What now needs to happen behind is that Jack Davison and Max Coates work together to try and bring that gap down and make it a 3-way battle for the lead of the race, which they well and truly could do. Seconds, so that again probably won't last too long, especially if the top 3 get into their own little battle out front. So Ronan Pearson now leads the next group in car number 66 in 4th place. Max Bird has dropped down to 5th. Jim Louts is doing okay in 6th position in car number 35. Then it's Callum Newsham, number 16, next up. 8th place, number 45, Tad Zelos has done well, hasn't he? 13th on the grid, already up into 8th place. So realistically, he's made up more than half of the places he lost due to that penalty from Croft in race 2. So Dan Zelos working his way back to where he should have effectively been on the grid. Joe Tanner comes through next in 9th place, and 10th place for number 3 is Alex Dennin. As into the pit lane, unfortunately, comes number 63, which is one of our first-time runners this weekend, number 63, Taylor Whitson. So that's not good news for him, although, as we said, Alex Dennin is also one of those first-time runners this weekend. He's up inside the top 10, so one does bad, one does good. That's the way it works at the minute. Down towards the final chicane, once again, come our top 3. This lap, whether they not there, so they have to just train through, although that's becoming a 2-way train because now Jim Louts is under pressure from the next car, which is going to be the he goes to the inside line in towards Redgate corner, and Callum will just about squeeze through by the looks of it, which he does. He gets a lovely line, hits the apex, and Callum Newsham finds his way now up into 6th position. The question here is, can he take all of those with him to try and catch back up with Ronan Pearson and Max Bird, who for the time being haven't got any pressure from behind. Oh, and they've just swapped as well, we've been told by Matt. So there's been a swap there between Pearson and Bird as they work their way down in towards the old hairpin. But yeah, can they kind of now work together to try and get themselves up onto the tail of the top three? Well, keep an eye on that gap, as we said, 1.2 seconds. Last time through it extended to 2.1 seconds, so it's going in the wrong direction at the minute. But Bird now ahead of Pearson. Let's see if Bird can make any inroads as they work their way on towards the right-hander at Coppice. Still out front. In fact, we've got Davison now ahead of Sam Weller, so the pink car has now moved ahead. So we've got a change for the lead on lap number 5. Davison, Weller, Coates. Can Coates try and squeeze his way through as well before the Robert chicane? Yes, he can. So Coates now goes to second. Now back into podium place. He's had 2 times this year, and now Coates is going to try and retaliate with race lead. On the first lap, so Davison covers the middle of the road. Of course, with all this battling, it just means that the next few are going to catch up as well as they head down through the crater curves. Just about to see the glimpses of pink ahead of white, so that means that Davison is still ahead of Max Coates, but Max Coates really now starting to pick up the speed. The lines he knows from his coaching days here, he'll just try and do everything he can to throw at Jack Davison to try and at the same time. So off they go now with the old hairpin. Davison, Coates and Weller, it still is in the top 3. Another one for the pit lane is now number 4, Liam Lambert. So a few started to struggle within this race as we've lost Whitson, Lambert so far. And of course Bobby Thompson didn't start in the end, so he's down an hour before we even got underway. And James McIntyre has got back into the race, but he is quite a way off the leaders, and I think he could possibly be into retirement before too much longer as well. But for the lead, we've still got out there. Pushing on hard now is Max Coates, trying to get past Jack Davison. Let's have a look at it. On the back straight, I've got again. Pushing from behind as well from Sam Weller. That gap was just over 2 seconds. Now down to what's going to be just over half a second. So really good lap there as well. And we're going to have a change for... There's a back marker as well just up the road. We're going to have a change for second place because going through there is Sam Weller, or trying to go through on Max Coates. It doesn't quite work, so Coates now tries to fight one back on Jack Davison down the hill in towards the crater curves. So we'll see again how that unfolds in towards the old hairpin, but it's very, very close now. Not just the top 3. They've been joined by Max Bird, Ronan Pearson. And to be fair, Callum Newsham is not too far back as well, just a second adrift across the line, although Callum is just off the tail of Ronan Pearson there in 5th position. So yes, top 4 that have pretty much gone with it, and running wide is Max Coates. He might just leave the door open there for second place, and Sam Weller's going to try and steal one here as they head up towards Coppice Corner. All of this, of course, because Jack Davison is continuing to defend as hard as he possibly can. So we're side by side for second place now. Sam Weller is getting into the mix. The back marker is not helping either as they come down in towards the Robert chicane. So trying to step out the way there, I think, was the car of James McIntyre. So that's not good news for the leaders. They're just about to sort themselves out. In a way, yeah, he's going to back a bit. Further towards the 3rd. Weller's back up to 2nd. And Jack Davison somehow still manages to lead after all this pressure from behind. He goes down to the Redgate Corner. 3 for a second advantage. They will now get very close again in towards Redgate Corner. Ronan Pearson sends one to the inside of Max Coates. It's even worse for Max Coates after going from 2nd to 3rd to 4th. He's now back down to 5th place in car number 71. So this is unravelling. And as we said, it's so evenly matched this year in the Quaife Mini Challenge. Yeah, they're all in one long line. As soon as you step out of that line, it kind of puts you not just 1 place back, but 3, 4, or 5. So Max Coates is the one who's lost out so far. He's now down into what I can see is possibly 5th place, although he's now under pressure from Callum Newsham in car number 16. So Newsham starts to put the pressure on Coates. You've got also in the mix there as well Jim Louts, and also Dan Zelos has now caught them up. So it's an 8-way train for the lead of the race. And I think we've just lost... Yeah, we've lost the back marker from that squabble now, so it's all 8 out front as they should be. Behind them in 9th place is number 39, which is Lewis Brown. He moved up 1 position ahead of Joe Tanner on that previous lap as well. So that's how it looks for now. We're halfway through Dan Zelos, and of course if he can snip an opportunity to go through, he certainly will to make up as many places and points as possible, because it's Max Bird who's behind him in the championship, and Jack Davison as well in third. Both of them at the minute find themselves up the road from Dan Zelos, and with Davison leading, he'll score 50 points, whereas Dan Zelos down in 8th position, he'll get, of course, 28 points. That's a 22-point swing as it stands, and of course, wherever the fastest lap goes as well, that currently sits with James McIntyre, so he'd get the 6 points for the quickest lap of the race, but here's the one with clear air. Everyone else is battling with someone, so they haven't got the chance to kind of find clear air and set a quickest lap. So McIntyre grabs 6 points there, so that's not going to any of the front runners as it stands, but 22 points, considering there's only 38 between the top two, that cuts it more than in half as it stands. Max there in third place, he's going to try and get a run down to second. As they come across the line, meantime further back down, Zelos gets to the outside of Callum Newsham, which is not a bad line to have. Then Jim Lakes comes across the circuit to try and block it, which works. The outside does get down Zelos on Callum Newsham to try and get that place away, which I don't think is going to do. It's going to be close as they run side by side down through Hollywood, and they're still side by side as they leave us, so we'll have to wait for the re-emergence of them down through Starkeys and Schwantz, and not too far off them was also Lewis Brown in car number 39, so Lewis is right there as well to pick up the pieces if anything does happen. So let's see how that all shapes out for what's going to be 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th as the top 5 go up towards the top of the circuit. And Dan Zelos, whereabouts is he? I think he's in the same place actually after all of that. Yeah, they've lost ground to Jim Loups. They've got Callum Newsham ahead, Dan Zelos in the middle, and Lewis Brown at the back of it in car number 39. So after all that side-by-side action down through Hollywood and the Crater Curves, thankfully they all survived and came out as they left us in that little battle down through the right hand over yellow flag. So we'll see what we do with this one. It could be a very quick recovery if we get a team down there to put it back on the vehicle, but that might need to be under a safety car. We'll wait and see what happens. It's in the exit of the pit lane, which is off the racing line effectively, but we'll wait and see. As Jack Davison now heads through, still under pressure from Sam Weller. Probably Sam would have seen that and thought, right, I need to get a move on now, just in case, because I think the safety car is going to be deployed here, because I saw a flashing light over at McLean's. And yeah, we are going to get a safety car, so that is no surprise really. As we said, very close to the edge of the track, and safety is the key point with any part of racing we do, so we're going to get that removed. It shouldn't take too long, to be fair, because it is, as we said, in the pit lane. Marshall's now under a much reduced speed from the pack. We'll be able to get to work and push it up the pit lane without any problems, and it will probably only just be the one safety car lap we get, and to be fair, they could have maybe just got that done before they got round, but it was very close. They've all slowed right down now, so yeah, they've seen the safety car boards, and effectively Jack Davison is being the safety car himself, and I know why he's doing this, because he wants to try and hold everyone up for as long as possible. With just 6 minutes left on the clock, he needs a victory, he needs to claw some points back in the championship, so he's slowed right down before he even gets to the safety car as he works his way down to the Roberts chicane. So this is going to eat into the time quite considerably. But as soon as he picks up the safety car, he will then have to go at the safety car pace. So the safety car will probably be a very quick safety car. And then it will be, of course, left to Jack Davison to lead them back through for a restart, which could be quite slow. So by the time we get all this done, it could be just one lap to go, because we've got 5.5 minutes left on the clock. We've still got no Jack Davison through the chicane. He'll be here eventually, I can guarantee you. I don't think he's pulled off into the Grand Prix circuit, but here he comes. And look how slow he's going. And as I said, we know why he's doing this, just to slow the pace right down. Samuel is saying, come on, let's get a move on. I want to race you. And here he comes. And he'll now see the safety car, so he'll have to pick up that speed and get up to the safety car. But this is definitely going to eat into the final part of the race, which, as I said, is good for Jack Davison, not good for everyone else. And just looking, I think Dan Zelos, just got moved on Callum Newsham before the safety car came out. So Zelos goes ahead of Newsham, so 7th place gives him 30 points. First place gives Davison 50 points. Coates is in 5th place he gets 34, but the other one we need to watch out for is Max Bird, who's in third. He gets 40 points. So effectively, there's 10, 10 and 10, isn't there? So there's 10 points closed in on Dan Zelos. Max Bird gets closed in on by Jack Davison by 10 points, but Dan Zelos gets closed in on by Jack Davison by 20 points. So it does become a lot tighter between the top three as we head towards tomorrow, if it stays like this, which it probably won't. So 4 minutes to go. Safety car now picks up the pace, as I said, and leads them down, or leads them down through the Crater curves and in towards the old hairpin. And straight away, no surprise, safety car is in at the end of this lap because it was a very quick recovery of Lydia Walmsley's car. So she joins the list of retirements. It's not good news for Steve James, of course. I didn't tell you this, but he received a 10-second penalty. So he, wherever he is going to finish probably towards the back anyway now after this safety car. So he drops down the order as well. But as it is, it's Jack Davison, 21, that leads the way. Second, number 11, Sam Weller. Third place, number 44, Max Bird. Fourth place, number 66, Ronan Pearson. Fifth place, 71, Max Coates. Sixth place, number 35, Jim Laux. Seventh for number 45, Dan Zelos. Eighth place, number 16, is Callum Newsham. Ninth place, number 39, is Lewis Brown. And 10th place, 315, which is Jason Lockwood. So again, Jason on the recovery after his poor start. I think he was probably out and out wide at Redgate Corner on that first lap, so that's why he dropped down a few positions, but he's got himself back inside the top 10. I think it's been a bit more of a speedier safety car lap with the actual safety car rather than Jack Davison unfortunately, so that's a problem for Tom Rawlins making his debut this weekend. There's some damage to the front bumper. I think that may be all it is, but there might be some suspension damage as well. But Tom Rawlins is off, and again, that's just on the start-finish line, so Roberts will be under double wave yellows, which means there'll be no overtaking for any moves to be done for anyone on this occasion. Whether they get retracted before the end, we'll have to wait and see, but they'll definitely be out there for one lap at least. Jack Davison goes though up towards McLean's on this restart of the Quaife Mini Challenge. He's got a very comfortable lead, as we said, over Sam Weller. In turn, Max Bird is a little bit further back from Weller in second place, and I think the closest battle we have is probably outside the top 5 because Pearson's good and Copes is good, and then Jim Laux has done alright, Dan Zelos is okay, and then for 8th place it's fairly close between what's going to be Callum Newsham and Lewis Brown. That's probably the closest fight we have inside the top 10 as it stands. So from getting himself a little bit further up inside the top 10. So Jason Lockwood is continuing to push on. Bear in mind he started this race from 4th on the grid. It's not been a race to remember, unfortunately, and it hasn't really helped with the brief safety car period we had as well, so it hasn't given him as much time to close down people ahead of him, and you'd have thought as well with the safety car it bunched everyone up, but effectively it strung them out a little bit because Jack Davison was very eager to get back on with it, which is no surprise. Starting to close down to 4th place now because Ronan Pearson has got the attentions of Max Coates behind, and again Max Coates would have been hoping for a much better result after starting from pole position, but at the minute he's going to finish off the podium. He's trying to get back up into 4th place as they round their way through Cobbiss Corner for the penultimate time, because we're about to start the last lap of the race. As down through comes Jack Davison in towards the Robert chicane, the bright pink machine, you can't miss it as he comes in towards the Robert chicane. He's leading by I think he is the second in the last time through. Sam Weller made any inroads into Jack Davison. Through they go. He has very, very slightly on this lap, so he's going second. I'm not too sure about the final step on the podium here. Max Bird is looking okay. We've got a great battle going on further down. There's about 6-7 cars all going as one in towards Redgate Corner. Let's hope they will survive, which I'm sure they will. One of them squeezed down the inside line, which comes off, and then unfortunately pushes the other one out wide in the end. So that was kind of Ryan Falconbridge, Ollie Barker area, with Rue Clark and Hannah Chapman all involved in that one as well. So as I said, they've all sorted themselves out. may have lost a few positions, but have kept it on the tarmac, which is good stuff. But Jack Davison, as I said, looking good here for a second victory of the season. He's working his way to the top of the circuit. He had a second in hand over Sam Weller. As they turn through Coppice Corner, I don't think Sam Weller's close enough there to get onto the back of the car ahead. So as they work their way down towards the Robert chicane, it's going to be